All right, guys, so we made a ton of progress up in the front deck on this boat. I got all of these side panels in here. These are like dividers. You can see they're going to divide these 1, 2, and 3 compartments here. Now, from the center compartment, you're still going to be able to access up underneath of this big compartment that runs up where his foot pedal tray is. And then he's going to have big compartments on either side of that. Now, this one right here, I'm going to put a faceplate in here. It's basically going to come across here. I have a screw on either side, probably 2 screws, and this can be removable. That way he can get inside of here in case he has a problem with this live well. The only thing he's probably going to have to do is replace this cartridge filter because they don't last but a couple of years if you're running them a lot. But it should be simple to get to. The only thing I haven't done in here is run the wiring for this. I'm going to be running a ton of wiring in just a minute. But we've got his pump right here. This is for his recirculate pump. Comes up through this right here. And then if you pull the inside of the flow right valve out, it will pump it out and come out of here right outside the outside of the hole. That way you can fill your bag, or if it's really hot, you just want to dump that water out of there real quick. That's the perfect way to do it. This one right here is basically his overflow. This one is all the way up to the top of the live well. This is 1.5 inch pipe right here, and that will allow all the water to overflow out of here and out the side of the hole. That way you can leave this pump on the recirculate and on the fill running all day long, and any water that gets too high will just pump out of here on the side. It makes it very good when you want to keep fish alive. That way you can leave your main pump running all day long. You don't have to worry about it. And this one right here is going to run all the way to the back of the boat, and it's going to hook up to a pump on the back of the boat that will be his main fill in. Now, I did get these little pieces right here. I needed these because these are like offset on an angle. You can see how they're tapered like that. These are going through the transom because the transom is not straight up 90 degrees. So when I put the pump in there, it'd be kicked way up in the air. I wanted to be sitting flush and parallel with the bottom of the hole. So these are pretty cool. I think those were like 10 bucks on eBay. I'll leave a link in the description for those. And I'm going to show you guys how to hook that up in just a second. But this thing turned out really good. Now, the way I did this live well, I put a piece of 1-inch foam on this side right here. And on the face right here, I have a piece of 063 aluminum that I just closed it in with and finished off the whole panel on the front. And then these are all made out of 063 aluminum right here also. Now I have a bunch of these sheets. I got tons of drop sheets. I probably got about 250 pieces of this exact 063 right here that I made these out of. I think they're 20 inches by 48 inches. And I'm selling those for $20. If you're interested in any of those, send me a message on trick10sjohnboast.com or reach out to me and send me an email through professionalwelding@gmail.com. But I will hook you up with those. If you want some of those, if you buy 5 of them, I will send you a free sheet, or I will send them to you free shipping. So it's a good deal. If you want some internal panels and stuff like that, they're perfect for that type of stuff. Now I'm getting ready to install this pump in the back of the boat. I gotta get this thing up in here before I start finishing up all this electrical and stuff. I want to hook up that pump. That's the last thing I have to do as far as the plumbing goes. And then I'm gonna run all the electrical up into the side over here. I'm gonna put the switch panel in there, drop that in, and then I'm gonna install all these hatches in here, and we're gonna get ready for turf. before I put that pump in, I want to paint inside of here. I need to paint some of these. I hate leaving this raw aluminum in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off some of this stuff or hold some cardboard up here or something to paint the inside of this without getting it everywhere. I'm going to paint this hatch, and that hatch over there. I want to make sure that at least these 3 hatches, when you open them up, they look good from the inside. So let's get that done, and then we'll move on to the back of the boat, and we'll get these pieces right here installed up on the transom and get that live well fill pump installed. Let's get back to work. Alright guys, so I got all of these wires ran up in this boat. I have not connected them all yet, but this live well is finished up. Now the way I did this, I left this slack in here. This thing comes like this. It comes wrapped up with a rubber band, and I'm going to leave it like that. That way if he has to get in here and replace this, we'll have slack to pull it up and out through the side hole right here. Now all these wires that I ran here, I ran with this steel fish tape right here. You need to get yourself one of these if you're going to be building these boats. It definitely comes in handy. They were a pain in the butt. As you can see, this is my power cable right here. I got a grommet in there that's coming up through this front hatch. I'm going to put his switch probably right here on this wall, and that's basically going to be his fuse for the trolling motor. That wire runs inside of this back hatch back here. And the way I did this is I drilled some holes in here, one here and one over there. Now that cable coming in, that's 10 gauge wire. That is going to be for the switch panel. That's going to hook up to the battery, and that's going to power everything in the switch panel. Now, these 2 cables right here are 6 gauge, and those are just for the trolling motor. We're going to have 3 batteries, 2 for the trolling motor, 1 for all the rest of the electronics in the boat. Now I'm going to run some extra wires up in the front for a fish finder. Eventually he's going to put one up there. And I did run extra wires in here. You see I got a wire right here. This one's just tied up onto the side of this pump right here. That's basically just an extra wire. It runs over to the switch panel in case you have a problem or wants to pull extra stuff in here and run something else. The whole front deck kit is pretty much finished up. It's installed. I'm going to show you guys all these wires over here. Then I'm going to talk about this deck kit right here. All right, so I got a bunch of wires coming out of here. I know it looks crazy, but it's very simple. I'm not doing a whole wiring diagram install in this video, so if you guys want to know how I hook up all these connectors, I use heat shrink connectors. I got a box of them right there. It's very simple. If you want to know more about that, send me a message and I'll send you some links to some videos that already show how I do all that. But right here, we've got this cable coming out. This is connected to his nav lights on the front. This is basically a fish cable. It's ran up into the foot pedal tray up there. I'm going to pull some extra 10 gauge wires up there for a fish finder. And then we've got this wire, which I'm going to use this for his power for the recirculate pump, which is right over there. It's already hooked up on that side. And then these 4 wires right here are simple. We got one for his rear nav. We've got one for his bilge pump. And then these 2 are going to be for internal and external strip lights. So we're going to run up underneath the rail on the side, both interior and exterior, and that's it. I got to hook all this stuff into the switch panel. Check out the switch panel though. This thing is pretty sick. Pretty cool looking, huh? It's like a billet aluminum. It almost has like a brushed stainless look to it. I've had a bunch of different switch panels, and this one was a little bit more expensive, but I think it looks dope, so I wanted to go with this one. I'm gonna put this back in the box so it'll get messed up. And we're gonna have a regular fuse panel that goes up in here, but these 4 cables right here are sticking right here. Very simple. I gotta hook these up. I got the bilge pump, rear nav light, and then one for each strip light on either side of the rail, interior and exterior. It's not very hard. I know it seems like a lot, but it's really not that hard. So I'm gonna get all this stuff hooked up. I'm gonna do this off camera because next video is just gonna be a turf install, and I'm gonna take this thing out on the water. I really want to do a cool water test with this boat, but unfortunately this motor has not been broken in yet. So I don't know if I'm going to put 10 hours into that motor before I do the water test video or not. But I'm at least going to put this thing on the water and get some pictures of it with the lights and stuff and all the turf. It's going to be sick. All right, now let's get down to business with this deck kit right here. This thing is sick. This is like the deluxe Trick 10s kit right here. Now this thing will come to you completely like this. It'll be welded out solid, and you can just drop it in, a couple of rivets in the sides and the face, couple of pieces coming down the face right here. Everything can be riveted. I've got 2 more trackers that I'm going to do after this one, and I'm just going to do some of these kit builds so I can do some installs to show you guys how it works, and then I'm going to get onto that well build. They're going to be quick hits. I have not come up with a price point for this entire deck kit right here, but it's not going to be cheap because you got 3 hatches, 1, 2, and 3, and then you got the live well hatch and the electrical panel hatch. The electrical panel hatch alone is $250. This live well hatch is probably a couple $100. And then same thing over here. You probably got another $500, $600 worth of hatches. This frame alone, though, for this deluxe kit, it's probably going to come in somewhere around $700. I don't know how shipping's going to be on this yet. I need to tweak this, though. I'm not giving you guys any prices on this until I tweak this. I got to make sure that this same exact front deck kit is going to fit into at least 2 more models. I'm probably going to have to shorten this a little bit on the sides, maybe like a 1/4 of an inch. That way, if your tracker's a little bit off, it'll still fit. And if it's a little bit big, you can just shim this out with some pieces of 1/8 inch aluminum, which I'll sell with the kit too. So it's going to be sick. This thing's going to be dope. I'm going to come up with a way to make the kit, you know, stop here. If you don't want to have all these hatches and have the deluxe, you can just have the economy that's going to have 1 big hatch or 2 big hatches or 3 like this one. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. But this stuff is coming, guys. This is coming, and it's going to be simple for you to install, especially in these trackers. So stay tuned, because after this build, I'm going to test this out on a couple more trackers, and then I'm going to have a price point for you guys, and I'm going to be selling these. So they're going to be going live very shortly. As you saw, I did paint inside of these hatches right here. Now, this is just stuff that I did because I wanted to, and I felt like it needed to be done. I didn't get paid anything for this, so it's not a perfect paint job inside of here. So if you guys want to hate on me, hate on me. It's not perfect, but it looks a whole lot better than raw aluminum in here. Same thing in this back deck area. I'm going to try to turf this floor in here. If I don't have enough of the Gator camo turf that's going in here, I do have some other sheets of turf, some grays and stuff. I'll at least turf inside of here on the floor, but painting these side panels to me is important because I want this thing to look like a finished product. And if you don't do it now, it's going to be impossible to do it later on. So it may not be a professional paint job, but it still looks pretty sick. Let's flip this camera around. I'm going to tell you guys what I got coming up for you in the next episode. All right, guys, it is hotter than Hades out here right now. I have got to turn my fans back on because I'm about to die out here. It's literally like the end of July. It's almost August, and I'm trying to wrap this thing up. I want to finish this project up because I have so many other projects coming up, but this deck kit is something that I really want to figure out. I got to make this thing perfect. I'm not going to sell you guys a product that's not going to be superior, and it's got to be something that you can install by yourself at home, DIY. I'm going to try this out on a couple more trackers. I got 2 of them lined up. They're pretty simple. One of them's just got like a back deck kit, and one of them's going to be this front deck kit. This is just like this one or very similar to it. So that's going to be important. And after that, I'm going to drop a video on how much this stuff's going to cost and show you guys how I installed it on a couple different videos. And I'll feel more comfortable knowing that you won't have any issues when you go to install this same kit in your own boat. Now, if you guys want to do a lot of this electrical, I suggest that you get yourself a little box like this. This one right here, I've put this together, and this thing runs out all the time. All these connectors are heat shrink connectors. Put a little box together. It's good to have. You should also probably put a little box together just to keep in your boat in case you have any issues while you're out on the water. Just make sure that you guys use heat shrink connectors on all of your connections because it will definitely make a big difference. It protects your wires and all your connection points that are going into the batteries and switches and stuff like that. You don't want to have any issues. You don't want to do this twice. So trust me, you got to use heat shrink connectors. I basically have 2 more videos of this boat build that I'm going to post for you guys. The next video is probably going to be a turf install video. I have never done an install video of turf just focusing on how I install the turf. And this boat has a 1/2-inch cut groove turf going in it, so it's pretty difficult to install. And if you don't get it right, it's gonna show. It's gonna look terrible if you don't get it right. So I'm gonna show you guys how I do that and the best way to install it. So then I'm gonna have the final reveal video of the boat. I'm definitely gonna put this thing in the water, at least get some pictures and videos of it. Hopefully I can get this damn motor broken. It's just hard for me to put 10 hours on the water into a boat like this because I make a lot of money and 10 hours equals a lot of money. So it's probably not gonna happen, but it might. So we'll see what happens, guys. But I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like, subscribe button. If you guys want one of these tracker kits or have a tracker that you want to do something with, send me an email at professionalwelding@gmail.com. Tell me what you got, what you're looking at. I'll help you build a kit specifically for your boat and what you're looking for. Until I can get all this stuff up on the website, it's going to be a minute, guys. This stuff takes a lot of time. There's so many components that goes into it, and I'm not going to drop a subpar product. So once they go live, you'll know that it's going to be something that you can install on your boat pretty simply. If you guys want any merchandise, you can check that out on tricktins.net. I got some cool stuff coming. I got some koozies that I'm about to drop on there, and I have some new camo shirts that will be up there. So I'm trying to update the thing with new products, guys. I appreciate you guys. I'll see y'all next time. I gotta get back to work.